When working with FTEs, it is important to understand the basics so that you are able to address the more complex problems when they are presented. An FTE is a managerial acronym that represents the phrase full-time equivalent. A full-time equivalent is a designated unit of time related to the number of hours that must be worked for a scheduled work week within an organization that would constitute a full-time staff member. Most commonly, this is 40 hours per 7-day work week, but can vary due to an organization's needs. If not stated otherwise, the 40-hour per 7-day week is generally assumed. FTE calculations are used to help management identify the number of employees necessary to staff an organization or department, which brings us to the terms absolute and adjusted FTEs. While each of these terms have their own video, we will touch upon them briefly now. Absolute FTEs do not consider items such as sick days, vacation days, jury days, essentially time that an employee may not work when they normally would. Adjusted FTEs take these issues into consideration. This is the reason why the adjusted FTE value will always be higher than the absolute FTE value. To determine your adjusted value, multiply your absolute FTEs by 1.55. This value is based upon the fact that there are 365 days within a year, but an employee will typically work only, on average, 236 of them. So 365 divided by 236 equals 1.55. This multiplier can change based upon the organization's needs, and if so, that would be identified. Let's break out what an FTE is in a more practical sense. One employee working 40 hours per week is equal to 1 FTE. 2 employees each working 20 hours per week is also equal to 1 FTE. 4 employees each working only 10 hours per week is also equal to 1 full-time equivalent, or FTE. Hopefully this helps you to see that an FTE is not the same thing as an individual employee. It is related directly to labor hours worked in 1 week, regardless of how many individuals are required to fulfill that need. As an example, say you determine that you need 160 labor hours per day to run your establishment. If you are open 7 days per week, that results in a total FTE need of 28. And the calculation there is 160 hours per day times 7 days per week, resulting in 1,120 total hours per week needed. Now divide that by 40 hours per FTE, and your result is 28 FTEs for the week. But say you were only open for 5 days during the week instead of 7. Then your need for FTEs drops down to 20. The calculation there is 160 hours needed per day times 5 days a week, totaling 800 total weekly hours. Once again, divide by 40 hours per FTE, and you get 20 FTEs needed for that week. A key takeaway is to remember that an FTE is not directly related to the number of individuals that you have working for you. It's more related to the number of hours based upon a 40-hour work week that you need to fully staff your establishment. rdstudy.com video tutorials are produced and owned by Nutrition News Network, LLC. Any copying, reuse, or redistribution, in full or in part for any purpose without the written consent of Nutrition News Network, LLC, is prohibited. All rights reserved.